Hello YouTubers, Tactica back, this time with my first ever Warhammer Fantasy Battles Tactics Rules video. This video is for Natakue, basically my audition to become an author on his website, warmongergamesday.com. So, the rule that I'm going to be going over today is going to be Frenzy. Basically I'll give a rundown of what the rule is, how it works, what it does, and then show you a couple of examples of tactics and ways that you can use it effectively, and perhaps some ways to avoid it effectively, depending on how much time we have. So, let's get started. This out of the way. Now, first of all, I'd like to apologize for the fact that these models are still gray. I've been falling behind a bit on my painting. This is a unit of Skaven Plague Monks. These models are, on their base profile, frenzied. Now, what does Frenzy give you? Well, the first and probably most appealing aspect of Frenzy is that frenzied models have one additional attack on their profile. So, of course, for using the example of the Plague Monks, as you can see, they're all equipped with two hand weapons. So that means one attack on their base profile, plus one attack for having an additional hand weapon, and plus one further attack for a total of 3 attacks each using Frenzy. Now this isn't all that it does. Frenzy also makes the unit immune to psychology, which can be very useful when facing off against fear-causing and terror-causing enemies. However, Frenzy does have a few drawbacks. One of the key ones that I would like to make note of is that whenever this unit, or any unit with Frenzy, comes within charge reach of an enemy, they have to charge. And well, you might say, well, that's not such a big deal, they're a close combat unit, they're going to want to get into combat anyway. Well, this might be true, however, the problem comes when an enemy using, for example, fast cavalry, get out there, get close enough to your unit to make you charge, then they turn around and flee, can draw you straight into a flank, and just get you at a very disadvantageous position. So, just to give a more direct example of how the rule might work, I have a group of 3 Kroxigor here. So, your unit of Plague Monks moves up and stops here. At the beginning of your turn, after all other charges have been declared, you go around to all your frenzied units and you check the range to see how much distance is between your frenzied units and the nearest enemy unit. In this case, we have 6 inches there, as you can see by the tape, which makes them well within their 10-inch charge reach. Therefore, they have to charge straight forward and into the nearest enemy. Okay? And as I said, they gain the additional attack, and so on and so forth. Now, a few tactics for dealing with Frenzy. If you have it won't be really true with Kroxigor here, but if you have a cheap unit that you use for sacrificing, for the example of Skaven using the slaves, or with the like of orcs and goblins using your night goblins, you move your unit forward so they're within charge reach of the enemy and angle them. And say, well, what's the point of that? Well, the real benefit behind doing this is, now, when the Plague Monks charge forward, they contact at the first corner, and then they have to rotate in to face the enemy. Now, this can be incredibly useful in dealing with your enemy's frenzied units, because as a result now of being off on an angle, if you have another much more powerful unit over here, you can come straight into a flank charge, or you can simply use this to pull them towards the edge of the board. If you have a really cheap unit that's going to die easy, that the frenzied unit will almost guaranteed to win the combat, what will happen is the enemy will flee. This, of course, like I said, will not happen with the Kroxigor, but these are just the models that I have here right now. So, now when they flee off towards this board edge, frenzied units also have to pursue. They cannot test to restrain a pursuit whenever an enemy flees, they have to pursue it. So all of a sudden, you've pulled the enemy away from the center of the board and completely away from your units, making them potentially have several turns to get back into the action. So that's a couple of tactics to use against Frenzy. And of course, now you're probably saying, well, what's the point of ever using Frenzy if it has all these drawbacks? Well, there are upsides to it, of course. As I said, it makes them immune to psychology, which can be useful against fear-causing enemies. That way, which actually, this is a good example. If this was just a unit of any other troop, like or Empire Swordsman or any other of the Skaven units, really, even, you try to charge, but the Crocs Core cause fear, so you have to take a fear test before you can charge in there. You don't have to worry about it now, you just get straight stuck into the combat. So, those are the basics of what Frenzy does and how to deal with it. Now, there are ways that you can avoid enemies trying to deal with your frenzied units, like trying to bait them and flee and things like this. And if I had models near me, I'd show you. Unfortunately, I don't. However, I'll use some stand-ins for this one. If you have a unit, for example, of skirmishers, these are some unpainted flamers of Tzeentch here, yes. I know they wouldn't come into it, but as I said, stand-ins. You have a skirmishing unit. They are fantastic for this. Right now, the unit of Plague Monks, even if they're in charge reach of the Kroxigor, cannot be forced to charge them because your skirmishing unit blocks the line of sight and blocks the charge path. Therefore, you can use this skirmishing unit, which, skirmishing units can move in any direction, so it's very easy for them to block your opponents trying to bait you. So, it's really good for having a small sacrificial unit of skirmishers to help out your frenzied unit. A unit of fast cav works almost as well. However, there's a little trick that I've used several times, and I've been told this works. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure this works according to the rules. And what it is, where you declare your frenzied charges last, let's say we have 2 units here. 1 unit over this way and 1 unit over here. Alright, now you don't want your enemy to bait you with this one guy. You want to get your Plague Monks into the big unit. So what you can do on one turn is you get your skirmishers to declare a charge against this Kroxigor over here by himself. Now, as their charge is declared and enacts first, they move out of the way before you have to declare your charge with your Plague Monks. Therefore, it's especially useful to use skirmishers for this, as they can charge in 360 degrees, not worrying about arc of sight. They get your skirmishers to charge out of the way, and then your Plague Monks, declaring their charges after, charge cleanly into the other Kroxigor. So there you have it. A quick rundown on the way Frenzy works, all of its effects, and some effective tactics on dealing with and on using Frenzy to your advantage. See you soon.